We're joined now by the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, Dr. Anthony Ojukwu. Thank you very much indeed for coming to Newsnight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, it's really disturbing when you think of what the abuse of human rights does to the human dignity. Why does an emerging economy like Nigeria find it so hard to respect human rights?
The challenges of respecting human rights are quite enormous in Nigeria. You know, if you're not empowered, if there is mass poverty, if there is low education of the people, and if there is insecurity, you know, all these indices are making the climate for the enjoyment of human rights very, very difficult. I can bet you during the COVID-19, when people were locked in and people could not go out to find their means of livelihood, we had an upsurge in things like sexual and gender-based violence, domestic violence, because if the man doesn't go out to work and bring money home, the children need to eat in the house, there's going to be a fight between the husband and the wife in terms of you know, providing food for the children. And an angry man, a hungry man is an angry man. And then where the youth cannot be engaged, you know, what do you expect? You know, they look for soft targets. They probably, you know, find on unorthodox ways of making a living, you know. And that's why when the insurgency started in northern Nigeria, one of their greatest support was that there were a lot of marginals and youth that could be recruited even for money. Some people joined Boko Haram because of money, you know. So we need to address the issue of poverty in this country. We need to address the issue of education in this country. We need to provide an enabling climate for young people to get jobs. And you can see all the reforms in terms of electricity to make sure they support the industries. You know, there has been this massive clamor for privatization. Government should not touch any industry. Government cannot do any industry well. This is an orchestrated campaign to make sure that government hands off all areas of investment. I remember in 1979 to 1983 period, we had a governor then in Imo State. His name is Sam Bakwe.
Okay.
He built an industry in every local government within his period of tenure. But all those industries have been sold to private hands today. And you can see a government now, a state government, doing 8 years without building a single industry in the state. So how are the young people going to be employed? And now you leave all the, you know, commerce and industrialization to private sector. Can you run a hotel now? Generator, you run on diesel from almost morning to night. How will you ever cover?
Okay, you're telling us about the economic ramification to human rights abuse.
Sure, right? The poverty level is enormous.
So then, and then you describing in some way multidimensional poverty, you know. So then, are you suggesting then that if we can tackle the issue of poverty, multidimensional poverty, and economic challenges, then we've sorted some measure of human rights abuse?
I believe there will be a tremendous reduction in the human rights abuse in the country.
Okay, so then how can individuals, because usually someone sang a song says, stand for your rights, you know, stand up for your rights, you know. Well, then how can an average Nigerian, you know, enforce his human rights?
Of course, I mean, to have a climate of optimum respect for human rights, you have to work on several fronts. One is standing for our rights means that we right holders must demand for our rights, because if the leaders there who are supposed to provide us the enabling climate, you know, security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of governance. Yeah. Now, if you don't demand for it, the people who are supposed to do, because we have surrendered our powers and everything to people in government through our votes, we have empowered them.
Okay.
Now, if you don't demand for these rights, The people go there and forget.
Okay, in demanding for your right, let's look at the legal system. Because when you look at it, justice denied or delayed, they say it's not justice denied. But many times, justice delayed ends up being justice denied. So when you look at the legal system, you know, sometimes it appears too weak to deliver your rights. How do you measure that?
Well, these are all the fronts we need to work on. You know, for a country to do well, you have to work on several fronts, and most of these fronts are complementary. Just like we say, rights is universal, it is interdependent, all of them are equal, they are interrelated. Government is a system. You know, if the judicial system is working and the legislator is not working, or the executive is not working, it cannot play out well. Both the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary need to work so that there will be, you know, a perfect situation. Okay. So the administration of justice, if it is not delivering justice, if it's delaying justice, is a problem.
Okay then. Now, let's also look at the executive. You know, is there the political will? When you look at the renewed hope agenda of the president, is there a political will to ensure that the human rights of an average Nigerian are restored?
That is the promise they have made. They have said they will do so. However, if you don't demand from them what they have promised, they are going to the backslide. So what does it mean to demand for your rights? Accountability. Accountability is a major issue. You know, people in the National Assembly, people in the executive, people in the judiciary, people need to demand for their rights. Even if it means going to protest along the streets, they have to do so. Even if it means asking questions, even if it means doing oversight, even if it means giving relevant information, citizens have to act. That is why we need a vibrant civil society. The vibrant civil society is a way to make sure that we demand for our rights. And demanding for our rights means asking the people in power who are supposed to deliver the dividends of human rights, whether they are doing so. If INEC doesn't conduct credible election, people should tell them to resign and go. There are so many people who can do the job. If a minister for steel cannot deliver, why should we keep him there? If a minister for economy is managing the economy and our GDP is going down instead of going up, we are going into recession, that means he doesn't understand it. So we need to start calling for account. Here, nobody ever resigns for anything. No matter how bad a public officer, you know, performs in this country.
Dr. Anthony Ojukwu, I must say a big thank you to you for coming to Newsnight, Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.